Hey guys, and welcome back or welcome to my channel. If you are new, my name is Amir. I'm all things beauty and fashion related here on YouTube with a little bit of life content. So I am finally doing my updated base routine. It's been a while and I did change up my technique just a little bit, as well as some of my products. So if you would like to see how I achieve this gorgeous, flawless base look, then make sure that you give this video a big thumbs up. Make sure that you are subscribed and have your bell notifications turned on as well. So let's hop right into the video. Hello everybody, back at it again, and this time we are finally doing an updated base routine. This time is for the summer, and best believe when I tell you your makeup won't melt off your face. Coming from an oily girl, yeah, it's not moving, sis. Okay, to prep my skin, I use the Milk Hydro Grip Primer, and I am obsessed with it now. I'm so glad I picked it up because it really makes my makeup like stay put. It's like glue. So before I put on my foundation, I always color correct. I only color correct around my mouth, and if I have a blemish like on my forehead, I cover that as well. So using an orange corrector from LA Girl, and I use a darker shade to cover up the orange. It matches better with my neck rather than using a lighter shade like toffee that I used to use. So as you can see right here, it's a little bit darker, but it blends out very well and it cancels out the red that's in the corrector. Using a damp beauty sponge, this one is from Beauty Bakery. I am blending out that concealer with the orange color corrector so that it won't be too harsh under my foundation, and of course to blend it out because we don't do harsh lines, we don't do muddiness over here. Now if you use a sponge to blend out your foundation or your concealer or whatever, make sure that it's not super wet, because I think this time my sponge was a little bit too wet, so it took up a lot of the product. So make sure that it is damp and not soaking wet. Like, it shouldn't be dripping if you squeeze it. Something new that I've been doing that I saw a big change on how long my makeup lasts is underpainting. So this is the Dimension Effect Contour Stick in the shade Effect 17 from Morphe. So I'm hitting my jawline, my forehead, my nose, my cheekbones, as well as under my lip. I really do love this stick. I just wish it was a little bit more creamy, but the way that it blends out is just so lovely. I really do like it. And now I'm going in with my highlighter shade. This is the Born to Glow Radiant Concealer from NYX, and this is in the shade Warm Caramel. So I'm just hitting it where I normally would highlight over my foundation. I'm just doing it under, so underneath my eyes, my nose, forehead, chin, and I'm also taking it below my cheekbone, as you can see here. So once I'm done laying down my highlighter, I am going to blend out my contour first because I like to let my highlighter sit so I can get more coverage. So I don't really have a specific place to start. This time I just started on my forehead, and I'm blending that backwards up into my hairline. So I'm really just going around in circles all over my face to blend out my contour shade. And I do eventually build it up because it's not a full coverage contour stick, which is definitely okay. I really don't mind, but it works really well with the foundation that I'm going to use today that I will show later on in the video. With this foundation stick that I noticed, I do have to use a little bit more pressure to blend it out rather than using a cream contour color, but that is perfectly okay with me once again. Another thing that I want to point out with this contour stick, it does dry down a little bit, so you do have to work at a decent pace in order for it to blend out well. I did start to drag it upward, but then I had to do a patting drag in order for it to blend out. As you can see, it's a little bit harsh, but I will go over that and fix it. Now I'm doing my lower lip. I like to do my lower lip because it just adds some more volume to my bottom lip, you know, gotta add some volume. And then I just blend it out with a smaller brush. This brush I use for my contour shade, or excuse me, my color correcting shade, and I just use it to blend it out on my nose. It just works better. I always blend into my eyebrow just to get a more defined contour snatched nose. Going back in with my beauty sponge, I am blending out my highlighted areas. Once again, I don't have a specific area to start in. Wherever my hand goes is where I'm gonna start for that day. So I'm just blending out that shade once again, making sure that I am getting as close to that edge of the contour shade without moving it too much or disturbing it too much, because I am going to go over with my foundation color to further blend out these two shades. And I really like this Born to Glow concealer because it's not drying at all. I hate drying products now. It kind of makes my face feel way too tight, and the tighter my face feels, the more oil my skin is going to produce, and the more that my makeup is going to come off my face. When I get to my under eyes, I like to start from the corner of my nose where the edge is and blend that outward, and then moving onto the outer side of my face. So I'm going down, then I'm going up, then I'm blending the two in the middle, and then whatever that's left over, I am placing it on my eyelid, because if I'm wearing eyeshadow for the day, that's going to be my eye primer. And I'm tapping very lightly. I don't want to disturb the product too much where it starts to be patchy. And then I always go over with that same brush that I use for my contour without going back into the product, just to blend it out a little bit more. So once I get done blending that back out, I do go in with the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer in Tan Neutral, just to brighten up the center of my face a little bit more. So now I'm using two different foundations. I'm taking the NARS Natural Radiant Foundation in Macao, and then I'm taking the Morphe Fluidity in F4.20. So I only use a pump for both of these foundations. They give me the perfect blend and match together. So I'm just tapping it lightly over my face. I don't want to disturb any of the underpainting that I've done. So I take it from the back of my hand and I lightly tap it in with my brush, and I pat it on the areas of my face, keeping that highlighted area untouched for the time being, because I want that to set so I can have a really flawless bright center of the face. So I go in once again with my beauty sponge, and I'm only focusing that product where I placed it. Once I get done with blending out that highlighted area, I go back over with my foundation brush. I don't like to tap into too much foundation when I'm going on my forehead and over the center of my face, because I don't want too much product right there. So to define my cheeks some more, I go in with a little bit of that contour shade. I do it directly on the brush to give it an airbrushed look. And I'm tapping the product in rather than swiping, because I don't want to disturb the foundation that I just placed, nor do I want to disturb the highlighter shade that I just placed as well. The only time that I drag the product back on my face is when I'm doing my nose, as you can see here. Once again, making sure that I am going into my eyebrows. Afterwards, I go back in with my blender. I'm taking the bottom of the sponge now and lightly tapping in my foundation just to make sure there's no harsh lines around or any streak marks from the brush. I always go in with a setting spray after I place down my foundation and cream products. This is the Continuous Settings Mist from Morphe, and I'm lightly patting that in once again just to make sure that it is all blended in. To set, I'm using the Lasting Fix in Banana from Maybelline New York, and I'm only using a little bit in the cap using a setting brush from Real Techniques, and I am placing this on my forehead first because this is where I get oily the most other than my nose. So I put a little bit too much on. A little goes a long way with this powder because you don't want to look ashy. This is 2021. We don't look ashy over here. We don't do that flashback. We won't do none of that, okay? So I'm just lightly brushing away that extra powder that I placed on my forehead, and I'm going to do that all over the rest of my face. Besides the fact that this powder is super affordable, I'm pretty sure it's less than $13, I believe, at Ulta. Other than the price, the way that it just blurs out the pores and brightens up any place that you put it, I really love it, and it's not drying at all. So if you have a dry under eye, I'm pretty sure that this will work really well for your skin. Just make sure that you use a light hand and don't go overboard. This is a pretty good setting powder to bake if you do that. So just make sure that you're blending away as good as possible. I'm using a very light hand. As you can see, it's blurred and matted from the right side of the face to the left side of the face. I do a little bit of baking on my nose because once again, that's one of my most oiliest places on my face. So I'm putting on a pretty good amount of product right here. So the contour palette I'm using, this one is from Black Radiance, and I'm using these two shades with an angled brush from a set that I got from Marshalls. So I'm taking the Sculpt shade first. It's that middle shade, and I'm lightly patting while slightly dragging that up into my hairline, on my cheekbones, on my forehead. Wherever that I place that cream contour is where I'm going to set with my bronzer and my matte contour shade. One thing I will say about this contour palette, besides it's, once again, it's super affordable, it is very pigmented. So I go in with the lightest hand as I can. I tap it in probably 2 times, dust it off, and I lightly build it up to my liking. Then I go in with the contour shade. I'm only using the smallest amount for the contour shade because once again, this palette is very pigmented and I don't want it to look too muddy on my face. So I'm using the lightest strokes to blend into that Sculpt shade that I use, blending it upward and back. Once I get done with setting my contour, I am taking that same powder and I'm cutting the bottom of that contour shade on my cheekbones, lightly using the smallest amount of powder, and then I am going to dust it away with a big fluffy brush just to make sure that there's no leftover excess powders anywhere and that everything is blended together seamlessly. Once I'm done with setting my face, I go back in with my setting spray from Morphe and then tapping it in with the bottom of my sponge once again. Now let's get into this blush, y'all. When I tell y'all this palette is a 10 out of 10, oh my gosh, I love these two shades mixed together. They give me the right amount of warmth and they blend in so well. So I'm taking a blush brush from Real Techniques and I'm only using a little bit. I'm tapping in both of the colors, probably like 4 times each, and I'm lightly tapping into my cheek, going upward into my temple. I also place it on my nose and on my forehead to give it a little bit of more warmth to the face. For highlight, I'm taking my highlighter reloader from Makeup Revolution and Dare to Divulge, and I'm taking this fluffy pointed brush from BH Cosmetics, and I'm lightly just covering the top of my cheekbones, my nose, the center of my nose, and my Cupid's bow as well. Alright, so here we have our finished look. What do you guys think? It's a big difference from my foundation routine that I uploaded in December or November. One of those 2 months, it was a winter foundation routine, but this one is perfect for the summertime and it does last me a good minute when I'm outside. I am oily in my T-zone and I don't get as oily as fast as I used to, so that's another plus to my updated routine. So if you like what you saw today and if you want some more updated videos, if you want an updated brow tutorial or how to apply lashes, whatever it is, let me know in the comment section down below. Also give this video a big thumbs up if you like what you saw today, and if you also like what you saw today, make sure that you are subscribed. Once again, I'd like to thank you guys for tuning in and I hope to get to see you guys in the next one. Bye.